The air inside the Novacare complex was heavy with an unfamiliar kind of silence, the kind that only follows a total collapse. For a franchise built on raw grit, midnight green swagger, and an unforgiving championship standard, the months leading up to the 2026 training camp felt less like an offseason and more like a crime scene investigation. Last year's brutal postseason exit at home against the San Francisco 49ers wasn't just a loss. It was an exposure. It laid bare an offense that had grown predictable, vanilla, and completely devoid of rhythm outside of the red zone. The pressure cooker of Philadelphia was boiling over, and everyone from the front office down to the locker room knew that status quo was no longer an option. When a multi-billion-dollar machine stalls out, heads have to roll. But what happened next in Philadelphia caught the entire football world completely off guard. Enter Shawn Mannion. At just 2 years removed from his playing days as a backup NFL quarterback, thrust into the role of offensive coordinator for a team with unadulterated Super Bowl aspirations, Mannion represents the ultimate high-risk, high-reward gamble. To the outside observer, handing the keys of a championship-caliber offense to a first-time play caller with virtually no coaching pedigree looks like madness. Critics pointed immediately to the stark inexperience. They warned of growing pains, disastrous play-calling meltdowns, and a wasted prime for a roster built to win right now. Yet, inside the building, the narrative couldn't be more violently opposed. The early reviews from mandatory minicamp, OTAs, and rookie sessions haven't just been positive. They have been entirely surreal. To understand why, you have to look at the man pulling the trigger under center. Jalen Hurts is not a quarterback who hands his trust out cheaply. A coach's son who cut his teeth under the unforgiving microscope of Nick Saban at Alabama, traversed the high-flying system of Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma, and absorbed the football intellect of Lane Kiffin. Hurts is fiercely analytical about his offensive vision. Last year, under the previous regime, the disconnect was palpable. The body language spoke volumes. The public answers were lukewarm at best. But with Mannion, the transformation was instant. It didn't take weeks or months of awkward adjustment. From day one, the connection clicked. Veteran tackle Jordan Mailata didn't just praise his new coordinator. He called him an absolute genius and flat out declared him the smartest human being in the entire building. Future Hall of Famer Lane Johnson, a man who has seen every defensive scheme and offensive trick the modern NFL has ever invented, admitted that he envies this brand new system and feels a renewed, childlike obsession with playing in it. How does a coach with barely any experience command that kind of immediate, unreserved respect from seasoned veterans who have played in Super Bowls? The answer lies in a story that sounds like sports myth, but actually happened. Shortly after landing the job in Philadelphia, Mannion flew back to Green Bay, Wisconsin, to pack up his life and personal belongings. Mother Nature intervened with a merciless Midwestern blizzard, completely locking down the airports and stranding him. Most people would have checked into a hotel, waited out the storm, and coasted on a delayed flight. Not Mannion. With training camp looming and a playbook waiting to be built, he threw his hands up, walked out to a car, and drove 14 straight hours through the freezing night back to Philly. When head coach Nick Sirianni called him to check on his travel status, and heard Mannion was already 5 hours away down the highway, the reality of what kind of obsessive worker he had just hired set in. Sirianni later told reporters that this dude simply loves football, lives for the grind, and possesses an unmatched obsession with his craft. That relentless work ethic is precisely why Mannion bypassed the traditional, slow-moving coaching ladder. Of course, football history is littered with brilliant minds who crashed and burned under the blinding lights of NFL play calling. The ghosts of last year's stagnant offense still haunt the fan base. How can Philadelphia trust a rookie coordinator when 21 teams across the league are shuffling new offensive play callers, and the margin for error in the NFC is razor thin? Sirianni saw that exact trap coming. Instead of isolating his young coordinator, he engineered a safety net of elite, battle-tested football minds. He surrounded Mannion with a collaborative powerhouse coaching room. Josh Grizzard, who called plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Parks Frazier, who has experience steering NFL offenses, and Garrow Johnson, the special project assistant who previously molded C.J. Stroud into a record-breaking rookie sensation in Houston. With a collective coaching staff steeped in modern schematics, Mannion isn't navigating the dark alone. He is the focal point of a massive, synchronized offensive overhaul. And the schematic shift itself is going to terrify opposing defenses. Gone are the predictable, uninspired formations that bogged down the attack a year ago. The 2026 Eagles are fully committing to a dynamic wide zone, stretch-running scheme modeled after the league's elite offensive pipelines. Fans are going to see Jalen Hurts operating under center with far greater frequency, executing purposeful pre-snap motions, utilizing complex shifts, attacking a vastly expanded route tree, and, most importantly, unleashing throws over the middle of the field with lethal precision. For anyone who loves the tactical chess match of professional football, the transformation is appointment viewing. Yet, as the team reports to the training complex, the shadow of public scrutiny looms larger than ever. Philadelphia remains the ultimate pressure cooker. When you win big, you are heroes. When you stumble, the city demands answers. When reporters cornered Sirianni about the suffocating weight of these championship expectations, his reaction was characteristically unfiltered and fierce. With a blunt expletive, he made it clear that he loves the standard, embraces the intense pressure, and expects every single man in the locker room to match it. He knows the narrative. He knows critics spent the offseason mocking him for using artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT to research motivational stories, such as uncovering a college wrestler who triumphed with missing limbs. As if modern leaders shouldn't utilize every available resource to spark their teams. Sirianni doesn't care about the outside noise. Operating as a true CEO head coach in the mold of Bill Belichick or Mike Tomlin, he oversees the entire ecosystem of the franchise, dropping into the offensive line room 1 minute and auditing defensive packages the next. His regular season winning percentage places him in the company of coaching immortality, shoulder to shoulder with legends like Vince Lombardi and Shawn Mannion. He is unapologetically himself, relentlessly authentic, and completely unfazed by the hot-take culture of modern sports media. So, what does it all mean as the pads finally come on and the grueling grind of training camp begins? The Philadelphia Eagles are walking a tightrope over an abyss. If Shawn Mannion's brilliant mind fails to translate to Sunday afternoons, or if the pressure of the big chair proves too much for a first-time play caller, the fallout will be catastrophic and the axe will fall swiftly across the organization. But if this marriage between a relentless, obsessed young coordinator and elite franchise quarterback fully bought into an explosive new system, and a fiery head coach managing the culture like a master chess player actually clicks, the sky is the limit, and the rest of the NFL better watch out.